Hello, everyone.
Hello again.
Hello.
Perfect. Welcome to another episode once again of our Travel Tuesdays. Today we're going to be talking about something that it's a little extension of last week's. Last week we were talking about how to find cheap flights. This week we're going to be talking about when is the best time to book your flight.
Exactly. A lot of people just go on and they book their flight right away when they're really thinking about it. But actually, there are some very specific details for you to be able to know exactly when to book your flight.
All right, we're gonna dive directly into the secret. Are you ready? The best time to book a flight is a Tuesday at midnight when there's a full moon.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Okay, actually, the Tuesday thing used to be true. Unfortunately, things have changed due to algorithms and how everything works. Tuesday is not the golden day anymore. Actually, there's no golden day, unfortunately, but we are going to give you some really good tips so that you're able to know exactly when to book your flights.
Yeah, and just to tackle that myth, the reason why Tuesday used to be the hack to book a good flight was because some airlines will upload their upcoming flights on a Monday to their databases, and all the other airlines and websites will look at the prices and drop their prices a little below that so they can have some competition. And that's why by Tuesday, everyone will have dropped their prices for flights, and that's why people would look on for flights on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
But
Fun fact, although it doesn't exist anymore. But now everything is algorithm based. So it totally depends on your route. It depends on whether it's international or domestic. It depends on whether it's during a holiday. It depends on whether it's like a very popular time for a certain thing. So for example, the World Cup is coming up. That's something that people want to keep in mind. But we're going to go into domestic, international, and all that.
And it's very important for you to understand that there is no secret formula anymore. Now you just need to have things in mind. But there's no written formula like set in stone that you can figure out, because there's dynamic pricing, and there's a lot of things that change very dynamically, and therefore you don't have control over the time or the price. So you just need to pay attention and know overall like the range within you can operate.
Exactly.
So first thing, I'm gonna ask you, and you can tell me if I want to book a domestic flight. Let's say we're in the U.S., we're in New York, and we want to go to Vegas, for example. Like, how far in advance should I book my flight?
All right. So generally speaking, you're going to want to book your flight 1 to 3 months in advance. Now, it sounds like it's not that much time, and of course, it can vary a little bit. Las Vegas is a more popular destination, so you might want to think a little bit higher on the end of that. Let's say you're going to Kansas City, which may be not as popular as
It
Las
doesn't have
Vegas.
as many flights.
You can probably go closer to the 1 month mark, especially if it's something like January.
Sure.
Because January is not really a super popular month to travel. So that's the general thing. I mean, 1 to 3 months is what you're going to look at. Now,
if we're flying internationally, let's say we want to go to Europe from New York, should I also do 1 to 3 months?
No. You need more.
Okay.
3 to 6, generally speaking. And of course, those are going to depend on your exact routes, but 3 to 6 months is kind of the sweet spot there. The 6-month mark is really reserved for very specific things. So if you're planning on going to Europe in the summer, you're going to want to do that 6 months in advance. And that's because it gets very popular in the summer, and the seats tend to go very quickly. And that's exactly what happens with the algorithm. It's not that the airlines choose a day to change things, but if a lot of people are starting to search for something, then that price will automatically get spiked up.
Yeah, and sometimes it happens even, you look for a flight, you wait 5 minutes because you're talking to your friend or your partner to see if you should book the flight, and then they're like, yeah, go ahead, book it. And then you refresh the page to make sure that you can do it, and the price just went up. Maybe by $100, maybe by $300. You never know, because the algorithm is picking up on every single person looking. So that being said, those are the general ideas for domestic and international. Now, there are a few cases where it's very important that you book your flight as soon as possible, and we're going to go very quickly through them. One of the options is when there are not that many flights going to that destination, like you mentioned, Kansas City, or if you go into like a small airport. For example, New York has multiple airports. Has LaGuardia, has Newark, has JFK. But for example, there's a small airport in north of New York called Stewart.
Yeah.
That doesn't get a lot of flights. So if you
It's
must,
a great airport.
yes, but if you must go into that airport or through that airport, there are probably not going to be that many flights going to your destination or from there. So the few flights that you catch are going to go out very quickly. So
yeah, basically right now I'm even looking for a flight from LA to Vietnam, and there aren't a ton of options. And I already looked. I looked months ago, and because there aren't so many options, that's something that you have to jump on right away because there's not a ton of competition. So those airlines don't need to lower their prices.
Yeah. Another option, if you check the price once and it's a certain price, and then a day after you check and it's higher, chances are the flight's going to continue to go up. It's very rare that the flight price goes down. So if you already see the trend going up, it's a time to cut your losses and get that flight because there's a very low chance that it goes down. And even if it goes down, there's going to be two things that are going to happen. One, it's probably not going to go down that much. But second, it's not going to give you peace of mind to be constantly looking at the price. And trust me, we've been through this a lot. Peace of mind is worth a lot of money. Saving $10 compared to stressing for 2 weeks monitoring price just, to not get a huge difference, it's not worth it.
Now, you shouldn't be booking your flights a year in advance. And the reason is because airlines will put a placeholder on certain dates, and they'll keep a certain price just as their base, and then those will end up going down. So if you look a year in advance, you're most likely not going to see the cheapest flight. However, if you go ahead to the 6-month mark, and let's say it's for Carnival in Rio, that is a very expensive time to travel to Brazil.
Yeah,
so
it's a big time.
You better book your flights ahead of time. You're not getting last minute deals because guess what? Everyone wants to go to Brazil at that time.
And that's actually number 3, which is when you're traveling big time. In that case, don't wait, don't monitor, just go and book it because you know it's going to be expensive and you know it's going to go fast. So just cut your losses. I promise you the peace of mind will be worth a lot more than the stress of trying to find a cheaper flight and 9 times out of 10 not being able to. And the 4th time where you should book immediately is when you start monitoring flight and maybe the price is not moving as much, but the seats are going down, meaning everyone's booking at the same time. And the price might not be changing as much, but your window is closing. So
yeah,
that's
and actually, you can look on a lot of websites. They'll actually tell you how many seats left are at that price, or in general, how many seats are left. So if there are a lot of seats left, you should be okay. But if there aren't a lot of seats left, then there's a very low chance that price is going to go down for that flight. So you should just go ahead and book it.
Now, let's assume none of these 4 things are happening. Let's say prices are not going crazy up. Let's say you're not going to peak time. Let's say seats are not going crazy. And what was the 4th one? And then you don't have few flights. You have multiple flights going out of that place. Yeah. The real question here, and maybe this is the other myth that we need to talk about, are price alert good for you or just another scam?
They can be great if they're used correctly. Sometimes price alerts have saved me, and other times the price alerts will, they'll tell you, oh, it's gone up $1, gone down $1, and you're like, okay, great. That doesn't really help me. So again, flight alerts are really best reserved for something in advance. If you're a month away from a trip, you shouldn't be putting a price alert on. You should just be booking.
Go ahead. Now, it's also important, not just from the price perspective, but from the time perspective. If you're flexible with the dates, let's say you want to visit a specific city and you don't have a specific time you want to go, let's say, like around September or October, which is not peak time, you want to go to Rome and it's mid-January. You can say, okay, I'm going to put a price alert for Rome and see how the price fluctuation goes for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you're flexible, maybe you won't get it at the beginning of September, maybe you'll get it in the middle of October. And you're like, you know what, I can go mid-October. And then that's your time to use the price alert and see when price is actually going down because you have flexibility with time. You also have enough time ahead of you to have that flexibility to see that wiggle room to go back and forth.
And then there are also certain certain third-party programs who will give you these last-minute deals, or they'll just send deals to your inbox. And then there are airfares, and there's a whole mess of things that can actually help you for finding amazing flights. And we're going to go into that a little bit more next week, and it's going to be all about flight hacking. So that's a little bit more of a complex topic, but we are going to try to break it down and just give you the basics so that it's easy for you.
Yeah. So with all of this information in mind, now the real question, and I'm going to quote a book that I love, question is, when is it good enough for you, right? I'm not going to deviate from the topic, but there's a beautiful book called The Paradox of Choice, which shows you that the more options you have, number one, the harder it is to make a decision. But number two, whatever you choose, you're going to be less happy about the decision you made just because you know how many other options you're not choosing. It's a great book if you want to learn more about it. But the question is, when is it good enough?
If it's within your price point and that it makes sense to you, then sometimes it's not worth really monitoring a flight so much, because that's going to take a lot of your time and your energy. So if you're happy with a flight that you see, then you should just go ahead and book it. Another thing is to keep in mind flights that you're pretty familiar with. So for example, we are always flying back and forth between New York and Buenos Aires. By now, we know that if a flight is under $350 each way, we're just going to book it.
Yeah.
Because it rarely ever goes under $300 each way.
We might have found one flight once for like $180 from Miami.
Well, that's the one I took last time.
Yeah.
That was a miracle. I mean, that was from Miami, so that wasn't from New York. It was a little bit different.
But it's very rare to find.
But it is rare. And of course, I jumped on it the second I saw it.
It's a 10-hour flight for $180. That's
that was a miracle flight.
And it's direct, not even with a layover. So that was pretty ideal. But yeah, in general, if you know it's within your budget, and I'm going to give you another perspective, another insight from the bigger picture. The flight is usually not only the most important expense of your trip, but also the first one. Because you're not going to start planning your trip until you make sure that you can get there, right? So let's say, again, you're in New York and you want to go to Rome. Until you get your flight to Rome, you're not going to start planning your whole trip. And maybe if you wait a full month trying to monitor the flight to save $10, you're wasting a full month of travel planning where maybe you missed out on opportunities to make reservations for activities in there, to go to places you wanted to go.
The hotels are getting sold out.
Exactly, getting sold out or getting more expensive. So you save $10 in the flight, but you're now wasting an extra $50 per night just because your hotel doesn't have the economy room anymore and you need to go to a luxury suite. So you gotta look at the bigger picture, and sometimes trying to save a few bucks here and there is not worth the time and the energy you're gonna be spending. So
we'll always also do a big overview of what a trip will look like before we actually start booking our flights, because I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but sometimes you'll get reeled in with these very cheap flights. And then you're like, oh, I get the catch. When I get there, it's ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
And this happened to me. Granted, I was in my early 20s and I had no money, but I was trying to take a weekend trip from Madrid, and my friends and I booked a trip to Oslo. The flight was dirt cheap. Guess what? We got the last minute flight, and the accommodation was extortionately expensive. I mean, for us, obviously, because there were not that many places left to book. So we probably should have done the homework in advance. So if you do a brief overview of activities, accommodation, and flights, that's going to give you a better idea of whether you should go ahead and just start booking.
Yeah, because even the time of the day can be like day and night, very literally, pun intended. If you get to certain airports like in Milan or in Paris, there's ways for you to get into the city by taking the train. But if you find a flight that's technically a few dollars cheaper but gets there at midnight, guess what? You don't have a train at midnight, and therefore you have to pay for an Uber or for another transportation that's going to be more expensive. So yeah, sure, you save $15, but now you need to spend $50.
We'll get into that in another episode, of course, where we're going to talk about all different easy travel mistakes that we've made and that hopefully, you won't have to make, because we'll teach you about it.
So we'll do a quick summary about the episode today. If you're booking a flight domestically, 1 to 3 months is fine. If you're booking internationally,
3 to 6 months is fine.
Perfect. When it's important to book immediately, if you're going peak time or if
Special holidays.
exactly, or if the amount of seats is going down quick, or if the price is going up quick, or if you don't have that many flights into the airport or from the airport you're taking off from. Then price alerts are good if you have flexibility with dates and with budget, because you can like plan ahead of time, but you need to have enough time ahead. And lastly, remember, good enough might save you a lot of energy, a lot of time,
And maybe some money too.
Yes, you never know. So just remember those tips, and we hope this helped you become a little better traveler. So next week we're going to be talking about flights again, but we're going to go into the flight hacking area. We're going to maybe be talking about some VPN tricks and some other
error fares and all those like fun little tricks that people will tell you about. So we're going to talk a bit about how you can save money on those.
Because even companies make mistakes sometimes, and you can take advantage of those.
Yeah.
So we hope this helped. This was, again, the Travel FOMO Fighters. We're going to be here every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time. And if you like it, just give it a like and come back next week. See you soon.